And to this point, he ended up gaining 3,600 votes for free, just like that. Now I take you to Oljorok in Nyandarua because I want to pick a few from places. Oljorok in Nyandarua. Now, for those who normally say that probably Jacom did not fare well in Central Province, you can see here that the survey results are indicating the Jacom's values in hundreds and Dr. Ruto's also in hundreds, like that. But now, with just a thought that we need to be uniform throughout, they decide to remove all the hundreds and leave him with tens only, so that in Oljorok, he's having only tens, and wherever there's hundreds, they get and take that 100 and add it directly to this other side. These are not my data. These are not the Secretariat's data. I'm standing here on behalf of the ODM Secretariat, not me. So those who came late, I am not a whistleblower. I am just a person who is with the Secretariat and explaining the data that was there. So, in this case, you will note that it is like whether the other person gets 200 and the other person loses 100 doesn't matter. As long as it is flat, tens, and the other person gets their hundreds. So here you can see he goes ahead and even gets 200, while Jacom loses 100. Now this is another type that showed up in Central Province. And so in this Oljorok, he lost 4,200 votes. And Dr. Ruto gained 4,400 votes. Yeah, so I'll not take you to the original forms because I've already showed you where to find them. They are here. But trust me, we are working with a team that they crash it, we raise it, they crash it, we raise it. So, lastly, or second last, before I take you to Rift Valley, is Othaya. I have also Othaya here to check on. And you can note that here they decided now to do it. I think these were now the last minute rushes to bridge the gap, meet the constitutional threshold, declare president, things work. So here it is take 100, and add even from the beginning, and then where you are tired, stop. So they got tired there and stopped and everything. And they realized also that on this other part, he was faring well, and on this other part, he wasn't faring that well. So it was like give him a standard outcome of tens, and Dr. Ruto gets a standard outcome of hundreds. And with that, 6,800 votes lost, and 7,100 votes gained. Yes, so I want to take you to Mwea, where I have an issue with the forms there. Mwea is found in Kirinyaga, I think. Where is Mwea? Here. You can see Mwea almost looks like, yes, in the servers, there were these values here, and then there were these values here for Dr. Ruto in the servers, but they are very questionable servers. In this part, I want to take you directly to the forms and see some of the mischievous things that were happening in the forms. So let's go to one of the forms. This, I want to take you first to the IEBC form at the Bomas. Here you'll be happy to look at it and say this data was done well. And here we have 71, 92, 78, so on. And Dr. Ruto gaining 317, this and that. And when you look at it, the form looks clean. Nothing mischievous on it. And if you look at it, this is still okay. This is how their results were looking at, like at the Bomas. And then you look at it and everything is fine. Until now, Jacom is given 12,912 votes versus Ruto's 75,000 votes. But let's look at the whistleblowers form and see some mischief that somebody was doing before they could upload the values to the IEBC servers. If you look at it, on the other side we have 71, but look at this. This is 171, and it's not even 171. There was a cut of some values that were superimposed on a result that was here. So that cut was foolishly done, such that it did not cover every data. So in this case, only IEBC knows the values that are lying behind this 71, 92, 78. Only them would know. Nobody else. And you can see that in this case, there were hundreds being gotten here, and there were also hundreds being gotten here. But now when you go to IEBC portal, in the server, in the Bomas, it is clear that it was rectified, and now Jacom is given his 71, and Ruto has his comfortable 317. So even if he lost in Mwea, then we have here hundreds and 300 is even seen here. We have a 300 seen here, we have 200 seen here, but this 66 is not part of this 2, looking at it keenly. This 66 is not part of this 2. There must be a 2 and then 2 more values behind it. So this happened at the Bomas. And when you look at it, at the end of it, the results addition do not reflect this with those cuts. And you can see those cuts were even made on this particular data, this set. This is normally the hardest image to edit. This image is called JPEG. The JPEG image is one of the hardest to edit. We can edit easily what is called a bitmap image, and the bitmaps are these ones. This is a bitmap image, but this is a JPEG image. So how they edited even a JPEG image and superimposed data on top of it is still very questionable. So that happened in Mwea. And from the look of things, what was happening in Mwea there is probably what was happening in very many stations in Central Province. So that's why IEBC is the only people who can tell you the actual values found in Central Province. Lastly, is to take you to where now things were done blatantly. It's like we don't care. We are doing it and we care less. Here, I'm taking you to Tarbo and Tinderet in Uasin Gishu. Where is this part here? Uasin Gishu, let's look at Tarbo. If you look at Tarbo here, look at a section like here. This particular section. Where? Okay, this was a swap. This was also another swap. And you can see that at some places, Jacom is getting up to 400 votes, and Ruto is getting 6 votes, and so on. Okay. So after that, they swapped it and realized that at the end of it, we have a total vote of 25,000. So lastly, because of time, and this is something you can go over by yourselves. I think the website is stable. It's not been touched. Is lastly Tinderet. Tinderet is found in Nandi, and we have this. So this was the worst manipulation so far because there was no swapping, nothing. It's just like, even if you have 201, we are giving you just 1. And the 200 we give to Ruto. If you have 304, we give you just 4. And the 200 we give to Ruto. Even if you have 200, we give you 0. And the 200 we give to Ruto. If you have 30, we still give you 0. And the 30 we give to Ruto. If you have 400, as long as we give you the last value, it doesn't matter. We get the rest and give to the other side. So these are the types of manipulations which were done in that. And in this case, you can see Jacom lost 11,000 votes, 385. This is an ODM property, and by extension, Azimio la Umoja property. So I would refer you to go to a website that is called KenyaElectionResults.com. Now, people go type other things. It's not Kenya's election results. Neither is it Kenya elections result. You have to type it correctly as KenyaElectionResults.com, one word, and you will have your full analysis there. For those who don't want to go through everything, you have a PDF format of the entire polling stations, 46,000 of them, and what happened in there. It is a little big, and maybe I'll just download it to show you how it is, so that you can see the intermittency that was being used to manipulate various places, according to the 2 data sets. Yeah, because here it's clear enough to show you that we did not access 234 server forms, 34B. Or rather, we only accessed 238 server form 34B, and 53 forms were not available. So this analysis does not include 53 stations. And those 53 stations, they are all highlighted here. If you see something written download and there is nothing to download, means there is no form there. Just like that. So at the end of it, you have your values. You can see that everything looks fine in the polling stations. Nyali is fine. Likoni looks fine. Until you come here, you see your first deduction. Then you come, other constituencies look fine. Until you come here, you have your other deductions. And then everything looks fine. You come here, you have your deduction. You have your deduction like that until places where you have swaps and so on. Thank you. I'm done. It is reminding me of something that is critical to look at. Somebody will come out of here and say, you have showed us 2 forms. How will we know the difference between those 2 forms? They look alike, everything is alike, Then we went ahead and checked what could be the technical issue behind these forms. We decided to go and check on what is called the file size. The file size indicates whether forms are originating from the same source or they are originating from different sources. Now, when we looked at them, we noticed that all the server forms were having this type of figures. Like now, the Jomvu has 3.9 megabytes, while Bomas is having 5 megabytes. And then when you come to others, these ones are having lower megabytes, and then the Bomas are having higher megabytes. If you look at it, you note that the scanners that scanned the forms at the Bomas were not the same scanners that scanned the forms that were being posted at the portal. Now, what is the technical explanation behind this, if we can ask? It means, point number one, the scanners that were scanning forms at Bomas were of higher resolution. That means they were much more clearer, they were much more technical, and they were much more expensive. That is the explanation behind it. The scanners that were scanning the portal forms, the server forms, were of a lower resolution, such that it gives you lower quality. Then we started analyzing. Why would that happen? In 2017, there's a time that people were glued onto their screens and no results were coming. People were blaming IEBC, but it was a technical error that they could not resolve at that time, because they already formatted their scanners to send high-resolution datasets. So those datasets went and jammed the system, and in that case, results refused to flow. So when they said we are going to correct these things, we highly anticipate that the QMS kits that they reformatted later were now allowed to send lower resolution datasets. And once, that is the reason why this 2022 election, there were no jamming. If you would go to their website, you would get results. Every time you will get results. That is how we managed to even download all the results. So it's a pointer that the files from the lower resolution are files that came directly from the field. And that means they came from the returning officers directly to a specific server that was undisclosed. And then they were being taken and reformatted and then scanned again with a higher resolution server, a scanner that would give you now, check at this only, Likoni, where there was only one manipulation of one polling station. We have 4.6 megabytes of the result form from the server, and the Bomas one now raises it to 9.6 megabytes. So that is just it, to show that there was a little bit of a change. This is subject to confirming if you can access the actual QMS kits, and also IPC is the only one who has rights of access to those ones. God bless you. Thank you.
You know, I don't know whether to tell you to clap from the story we have seen, or but for the good job he did, please, let's give him a hearty clap. We are not clapping because of what we've seen, but because somebody took his time to analyze them. Thank you very much. Please. That is the information that is there, and we ask these people, if you really want, let's compare this with what is in there. And I don't know why they're afraid. because if I was the winner, I would rush and give you this to prove to you. But why are they reluctant? Kuna kitu. Sivyo? Si kuna kitu. Secondly, who was administering the elections? Wasn't it IBC? Wasn't it IBC? And the chair of IBC was who? Chebukati. So why has William Ruto now assumed the role of IBC? We are not asking Ruto to open the servers because he was not IBC. So why is he always saying servers won't be opened and he was not the IBC chair? Ask yourself those questions, and then, please, you can take over. Where's Zen? Yeah. Then, please, that's what we have to present. Asanteni.
So, because some of you know me as an artist, I don't think that was enough in terms of appreciating both Double O, Odoro Ngwen, and our brother Barabbas. So we do Kamoshi, you know? You know how to do Kamoshi, yeah? And to call the rains and to gather the clouds. So Kamoshi, Kamoshi, Kamoshi. Alafu tunaanza manyunyu, manyunyu, manyunyu. Manyunyu. Mvua inaongezeka. Kubwa sana. Radi! Moja tu. Thank you very much. Now I will just make one simple announcement to remind us how this meeting is slightly different from the kind of meetings people are used to. I've seen a number of our honorable members have joined us. According to our leadership today, your role is to take very keen notes. This is a people's meeting. So we are now entering a phase where a select number of individuals who had indicated on a first-come, first basis that they would like to speak in this gathering. Then after those about 8 to 10 people, we go to plenary, and plenary will be held in a way which basically says show of hand, and then we try all the sides and give people show of hands. Those who are still slightly standing at the door, there are few chairs remaining upstairs, so you could go and find yourself to the balcony. The first person and brother and comrade who had indicated their wish to share their thoughts with the leadership is none other than Brother Gasheke Gashi from the Social Justice Center. Brother Gasheke. Brother Gasheke, as he's coming, normally he speaks with fireworks and consistency in ideology. So please.
Viva Azimio, viva. Forward with the People's March State House, forward. Long live Baba, long live. First of all, I'm very humbled here, and I really appreciate you all you. Na kwa presence here, humble kwa presence here na Baba, na nyinyi wote, freedom fighter, mama yetu Martha Karua, na all the leaders here, Azimio. I really appreciate you. Now, for coming back here to the shrine of resistance. As you know, miaka yote, na Baba, ukiyasoma historia ya Baba, even his naming, Raila Amolo Odinga, he struggled for his name. Just imagine when you have now, priest ataka kukubatisha na nguvu, akupatie majina ambao babako hataki, na babako anasema hapana, he must get an African name. Just imagine walitoka kwa kanisa, wakakaa for a month, then until the bishop said, no, you can bring them, I baptize them. Tukrapieni Baba bana. So we are so humbled by a social justice movement to be here, and we are very happy that we are allowed to speak. Some of my colleagues will say something, but we have some issues as tunataka kuzungumzia kwamba because the electoral injustice ama the electoral justice campaign, baba alizungumzia pia before 2017. Now what has been shared here is very clear that there was manipulation. And even the German court, now I'm sure comrade like Kina Amolo, Tendo Amolo, when they are talking about Izo Nini BVR, they have made German court imesema you can't leave machine to vote for people's leadership. Na baba amesema hivyo kuanzia 2017 and even now. And we can see here is manipulation. So sisi kile tunataka ku-add kwa hii electoral justice campaign na people's march to State House ni ya kwamba lazima pia tuambatane na issues za social justice. Long live Baba, long live. Long live Baba, long live. Forward with resistance, forward. Forward with the march to State House, forward. Asante sana baba, niko nasema kwanza tunakusherekea kwa hiyo miaka yote. Kuna watu wanasema ati utuache kwa wilderness. Ati baba retire atuache kwa wilderness. Sisi tukuliwe. Usituache kwa sababu these are hyena. They are political hyena. There's two fellows in State House. They are political hyena.